Welcome to the Replace Loss with Love podcast. I'm your host, Trevelia Hodge, affectionately known as the Ballhead Daddy. Join me as we celebrate the power of love and resilience, even in life's most challenging moments. Remember, love-changing experiences happen because your love life begins and ends with you. Welcome back to the Replace Loss with Love podcast. I'm your host, Trevelia Hodge, affectionately known as the Ballhead Daddy. Thank you for making it to episode 3 and being here with us again. I am here with the sensational Selena Hill. Y'all had the opportunity to hear her in the first few episodes, so you know we are going to dig right in. And Selena, thank you again and again and again.
Of course, Trevelia, I'm so happy for those of you who've been rocking with us for the first 2 episodes. You know that Trevelia opened up about a tragic loss of her son. She even shared some information that you said you never even spoke out loud. And, thanks be to God, I'm so appreciative of your strength and your courage and the vulnerability you've been displaying these past 2 episodes. It's been powerful. Just hearing about your journey from the loss of your son, the loss of your fiance, to channeling that into your passions, right? Writing plays, writing books, poetry, all the things creative, showing up for your community, showing up for other people. Like that just takes so much resilience. And then how you adopted an attitude of gratitude, a self-acceptance and love. I mean, again, these first 2 episodes, if y'all have not listened, y'all need to go back, listen to those 2 episodes, and then come back to this one, because I guarantee you will not be disappointed. And now, it's time to bring it home, because you've accomplished so much. Just like you said, just being alive. For those of us who know your story, and I've just gotten bits and pieces myself, but whoosh, we need another series to really go into that. If you know her story, then you would know why it is just a blessing to have her here. I'm blessed to have you, to be in your presence. And I want to talk about how you taken this pain and said, you know what? I want to empower other mothers who may have lost a child. Maybe the child was not born. Maybe the child was born, but loss is loss. And everyone on this planet of a certain age can relate to loss. How have you been channeling this into your latest project?
Well, I've had the pleasure of having a children's book that released today. So this was recorded on May 1st, 2024. It's out on Amazon. And the book is titled The Baby Elephant with the Blue Balloon. And it's dedicated to my son, who, if he were born, would be called Zion. That would be his name. When I was 17, I heard God tell me, you will have a son and you will call him Zion. I did. And I believe that as much as the little girl that when I was 15, I was told she was going to come to this earth, and I named her when she came to earth. And so, unfortunately, you know, he didn't get to come here and be with me, but he's with me. And so I am grateful I've got out of my own way into a space to honor him, and that I can smile, because I don't want any mom to be left behind Mother's Day 2024. I don't want any father to be left behind Father's Day 2024. So this book, I'm going to show y'all the cover. Wait.
Yes, show it to us. Hold it in the camera. There we go. Now we can see it. The baby elephant with the blue balloon. Tell us about it.
And so this is an elephant family. Let's see if I can get the family. The elephant family here. They're cute. Can you see them?
They're adorable. Adorable.
Thank you. So I love elephants. I do. I am obsessed with elephants. I love them. I think they're amazing animals. And a part of my childhood creativity, reading about Babar and just different books, something within me. I just love elephants. So I love to be with them. I love to commune with them when I can. I rode one before. I will never do that again because of the love that I have for them. So I'm a vegan, don't come at me. I love animals, okay? And so I will never do that again, but I will wash them, I will clean them, I will do whatever I can. And so for me, because they do something for me, they bring joy to my face, they make me
Mhm.
smile. I wanted to create the book with the elephant family. Um, and in 2021, after that Mother's Day, I went and I got a big tattoo. A lot of people are like, "Are you going through a midlife crisis?" And I'm not. I got a big tattoo on my forearm of an elephant with a blue balloon. And in the blue balloon has a Z for Zion. The blue is shaped like a cowboy star because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Just go with it. And so um, I want to incorporate all the things that I think I would be able to share with my son. My love for elephants, my love for the Dallas Cowboys, football period. I love football. And then to see this elephant on my arm, and I was like, I'm gonna write a book, The Elephant with the Blue Balloon. And I want to help people and have this elephant family go through a loss, but not get too graphic, right? Because we have to think about the emotional and social emotional learning aspect of how healing works, and then just being vulnerable. So, and then what do they do when they come home? Because once you come home and there's no one there with you, I know what that felt like to
Mm.
be alone, and I didn't do it well. And so for me to honor him with help people with this symbol of love, which is a blue balloon, so to remember that your child is always with you, and that when you come home, you have to have this conversation with others, with siblings that may be home, or with other family members, that you can speak to them about it. And even when you feel sad, you can still remember that they're that that child is with you, right? Um, and so for me, it was the blue balloon and sharing it. Even though I have it on my arm and it's very intimate with me, I don't know how I would have to have shared my son with the world. So I had to stop being selfish, even though I'm a very selfless person. And I was like, "Are you being selfish?" And I asked myself that, and I was like, "Okay, I don't want to be selfish in that manner." Um, and I know somebody else may be home right now, and somebody else may be dreading Mother's Day, Father's Day. Um, the kids may be like, "Well, let's honor mom, honor dad," and also, but how do we do that with a sibling being gone? And so, like you said, we all experience loss, but it's not to join together and to um, continue to harbor feelings that keep us down, but to then honor that love. Please find a way to replace that loss with love within yourself,
Mhm.
because when you lose something,
Mhm.
there are other entities out there that may be giving you life in different avenues. You can always honor that and focus on, okay, I have to be honest with the fact that I'm lost. I have to be honest with the fact that this hurts. I have to be honest with the fact that this is not where I want to be, but I'm here. So what do I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I be stronger from this? But also take your moment, you know, don't dwell in it. And then I want to harbor a sense of community so that people can lean into each other.
Trevelia, when you talk about mothering, and you talked about that in the first two episodes, I've heard some folks define what a mother is very differently. Why is it? Do you identify as a mom? And
I
what
do.
do you encourage? And tell me why, and why you think, why you want to honor other mothers who may not have children on this earth.
Because I didn't always identify as her. You know, I also came from old school generational people who you get married, you don't ever cut your hair, So I'm like the opposite of everything that they taught me. You know, you keep your body up, you make sure you keep your hair right, you keep your body tight, you have kids, and you get married, you get a husband. They were very like, this is what you do. It was a cookie cutter type of this, and for some reason, I have not been her, and there's scenarios that will not allow me to be her. Like I have alopecia. What can I do? Except for embrace me to where I am and realize that if you are unique to yourself, then you're unique to yourself. So I can't be cookie cutter. And so for a long time, I had issues that made me feel like I wasn't a complete woman. I heard women say that too, and I can kind of say I understand what that means because of the fact that I didn't birth a child. But then I think about all the people who want me to mother them, and they just are honored that I could be there to guide them. So no, I don't have a child naturally. So that's one aspect of mothering that I'm not in that club. But I am in the club that I mother people
Mm.
and I'm loving them. And I have that nature inside of me. If I didn't, I wouldn't have to look. It's the nature that comes out of me, that person that wants to give you that warm hug, if I know you, because if I know you, I hug them a lot. But the thing is that um, she's still in me. She's in me doing this podcast. Like on the day that I'm launching my book, and I'm not on social media, but I'm honoring the moment, right? And want to be here for myself and for those women that we can get this out and they can see this before Mother's Day or on Mother's Day, or the husband or the boyfriend or the other parent that loves that mother that's struggling, or that father that's struggling. Father's Day is coming. So this is why I made it from the family. Even though I didn't grow up with a mother and a father in a home that was my mother and my father in the home, I didn't grow up like that. I've always had families that love me. My
Mm.
grandfather was my father. That's my guy. Still to this day. He's not here with us, but I'm his favorite. Again, for everybody in the world. My family shake their head while I say it. But they know I'm his favorite, okay? Still in heaven. And so, um, but I've had families that have loved me, right, with mothers and fathers in the home, and I didn't feel slighted because these people didn't have to love me. So the fact that they did has always been an honor of mine. Even if I'm not still heavily involved with that family, or we may not have seen each other for years, I still am very grateful for that. But the mothering that I've had to do, I can honor her, and the fact that other part of mothering, oh man, it was a void for so many years. And I'm not gonna say that I may not have a moment to be like, man, I should have tried again a little harder. When I got to a space where I was like, I should have at least one child. And I don't want it to sound like that, like I should have at least, but I had to release that too. That if I'm gonna really believe that I am the only person that can be me, then I need to be her to the best of my ability and accept her, and also release the longing of, I don't have to show up like a mother like everybody thinks that mothers should. I'm showing up like this as a mother. And I'm okay with that.
That's so important, and I'll bring it up because so many women are struggling with fertility.
Mm-hmm.
They have fertility issues. They've tried everything, IVFs and every medicine,
Yes.
holistically and medically. And some of us don't, like you said, some of us don't birth a child, but that
Mm-hmm.
does not mean you are not a mother. And I
Exactly.
think that we should broaden it, because how many of us have had godmothers and aunties and teachers and mentors that played a pivotal role in our lives and mothered us at moments when we needed it,
Yes.
even big sisters.
Yes.
And I think like you said, Shravati, let's honor that,
Mm-hmm.
because a mother comes in all shapes, forms, and definitions.
Yeah.
And any mother who's experienced a loss can relate, whether that's your biological child, whether your child was not born, maybe they were born stillborn. You know, I've spoken to mothers who um didn't like has also have miscarriages, but they had such a deep connection with their child before they were here. A deep connection, didn't even, know the sex of the baby, but knew
Wow.
in their heart what the sex of the baby is. They already spoke to the child and knew the child. So that's why I just love that you pay tribute to all mothers, and the baby with the baby elephant with the blue balloon with this book. Anyone who was can relate to it. And I do want to just bring it back there, because when you wrote this book, you also wrote it for children
I did.
to understand loss. Can you talk about how you're helping children who are grieving through your book?
So in the book, the parents have to come home and tell their two other children that this wonderful life that they were expecting will not be coming physically home with them. And they bring home the little baby elephant. It's like a stuffed animal with the blue balloon. And they tell them that that's a symbol of love for every aspect of life you're going to go through, that this other sibling is still with you. And you see them trying to rebuild, right? It's very short in that moment because I want everybody to write their own narrative of what that looks like for them. So I was intentional even in that, because your rebuilding process is going to look way different from anybody else who's going through this. And so I touch on it gently as possible, and then just give them the momentum to say, you know what, this child does need to be recognized. I had to recognize Tanya. And even if we have to shed a tear when we say it, but we can also remember that it's a love that could never escape us.
Mm.
Because sometimes a child will grow and become very distant from you, and you'll feel like, oh my goodness, how do I rebuild that relationship? How do I get that connectivity back? But with a child who is still with you all the time, no matter where you go, if you feel like that inside, I'm not telling anybody that they have to feel like that. That's how I feel about me with my son, and he's with me all the time. And so I don't have to build the connectivity. I just believe that he's with me. And I'm very grateful. It brings me a sense of peace. Um, and when you touched on how you could be an aunt and you could be a mentor, you could be a godmother. I'm all those things. I'm a very proud auntie to all my nieces and nephews. I am like uber proud of them, and they're uber proud of me. And you get like one of my nieces, Imani, she texts me and she tells me how proud she is of me, and then and I have more, so I don't want my other nieces or nephews to be upset. But one day she just told me, she told me, she was like, "You're one of one." And I just was like, what? You know? And she like wrote it on one of my social medias, and she was like, "That's my aunt, oh blah." And I was like, whoa, whoa, like, and it just, man, that type of love,
Mm.
I have to only honor God in the fact that I can receive it, because I'm not
Mm.
harboring the loss.
Mm.
She replaced it. You understand what I'm saying? So in the
Mhm.
moment, I was like, man, I got this baby looking down on me from wherever he is or with me. And then my nieces are like, my other nieces too. They love me. They pour into me. And it was in those moments where it was like, whoa. And I was so grateful because, yeah, your child may not be here physically, but think about every other entity and every other person that looks at you. My little niece, Ivory, she's not my niece by blood, but she is my niece by her heart. This young girl, she's so little and tiny and wonderful. And the way this little girl loves me is incredible. And the fact that she looks to me, I have to be very careful because I'm shaping and molding her life. because she looks at me. She likes to play in my clothes. She likes to run around my house, and I just let her go. Her mother just let Ivy do whatever she wants. But the reality is that she can always say, "Our teacher Melia was this pivotal person in my life," so I'm still shaping and molding vines, right? So sometimes we'll get done and we'll paint, do some of the things, and like because I'm distant from my other family, I can't do those interactive things with them, but I make sure I text them. I make sure I build a good relationship with them now, right? That's all been since 2021, where I've been in their life, but because I released this, I'm intentional about how I will text my nieces, I'll text my nephew, I will make sure that I'm doing that, and then other people, because it's like, okay, focus on what you do have, because you don't want to miss out on that and how that keeps you going. And so that's been a great gift that's happened since 2021 for me. And the fact that they don't look at me like, well, I could have been more involved. And they can still say that down the line. But I
Mm.
will always ask, teach me how to treat you. What do you expect from me? So I can show up how you want me to show up, especially because now I'm available mentally and in my
Mhm.
heart to show up, you know?
I want to talk about you showing up. You said something so powerful. You said that if you were harboring that loss and still grieving, you would not have the space and the bandwidth to receive love.
Not like I do now. Absolutely not.
I want to let that marinate because that's a whole word. Just the power of release and the power of forgiveness. How did you get to a point where, because you talked about in the first episode that your miscarriage was happened because of a violent episode
Mhm.
that your fiance had. How do
Mhm.
you get to the point where you forgive
Mm.
someone from taking something so precious from you?
I had to forgive myself, right? We say that, but I'm gonna tell y'all, people just say that I had to forgive myself. Let me give you some meat, because I hear that a lot on different shows, and I'm not knocking people who do that, but I want to give you some meat behind it, because I think a lot of people may not um want to be as transparent, because it's hard. It's hard to be transparent, right? You don't know how. I don't know how you're going to receive me. People could say whatever they want, and I have to do the work to make sure I still stay focused within on who I am. And so I had to forgive myself first, because I didn't protect this child, but then I had to forgive myself because I felt like I deserved it, because I didn't want children for a long time. And then here I am expecting, here I am ready to go to all the appointments and really get into the groove of this and all the things. And then this happens. And I felt like, you know what, I kind of caused it, because I said I never wanted to have children. So, suck it up. And then realizing that heart in me of who I am at the core, and the one who loves to love, did that as a band-aid and as a mechanism, because I didn't want to feel the hurt. Um, and so I had to forgive that first stage of me. And then I had to forgive the person who felt like she could have protected this child and did. I felt like you could have done a better job of protecting yourself. You could have done a better job of choosing a better person to be with. And I had to forgive her, because you only can do what you know. And at the time, I did not know a lot about what was available for me in life. And I had to forgive the person who didn't want to know, who was just coping. But there was another side of her too that was just okay with neglecting herself, and have a reconciliation, right? And so when I began to speak to this man again several months later, so moved into that, we were not back engaged or anything, but we were back, and let's try to make this work. I will I will go with you to that day when you go to rehab, and we're gonna give it 6 months, and then I will move, and we will be in a new space, and we will have a new beginning. And we were all gonna, all his family was in the Poconos at that time, and we were gonna go too and build a house and be right there. And so it looked grand. Let's see what we can do. Um, so I forgave him for, oh, this might sound a little harsh. I forgave him for putting his hands on me. But at the time, I didn't forgive him for the outcome. Um, because I was still battling the fact that am I just as guilty because I didn't want a child, right? In my own way. So it was a lot of demons in that. It was a lot. That's why it took me decades to talk about this. This was a lot to, and I'm talking about at that time, serving at the church, I'm going around with the bishops. I mean, honey, and still dealing with this and not telling anybody, you know, helping people with their miscarriages, doing all the things, births, people having children, God showing me other children that were going to come to earth and telling mothers. I'm still carrying this. It was layers of, okay, who are you really? Layers of what showed up as love, especially to the niece that was closer to me when I lived in Jersey, right? And I'm saying closer in proximity, showing up, not creating relationship, but I'm the auntie who's going to just be there and do whatever you ask me to do. I'm just, but not teaching you how to treat me because I did not treat myself well. Right? So my love language was to show up and serve. So whatever I could do, whatever was happening, I'm showing up. And so I feel bad because that relationship could be a lot better. Because I foster relationship. So with my other nieces and nephews and other people in my life, they've had to do a relationship with me. So they don't, but now that I'm loving at a capacity that I'm loving, I want to reintroduce that love to other people because I had to do the work to shed the layers, but because I shed the layers and I'm in a different space and I forgave myself literally, right? I did, and the forgiving was doing the work because you can't do the work if you don't forgive. Love doesn't operate in unforgiveness. So to do the work, I had to do it in love. So that's why I tell people now I lead with love because I had toxic relationships in every avenue of my life because I did not love myself well. I didn't know how. And so I had crazy toxic relationships that went on for years. I got girlfriends that I love y'all. I do. If you see this podcast, I do love y'all. Well, that wasn't healthy. It was it was not healthy. Okay. And who I am today wouldn't serve them because I wouldn't serve them, especially if they didn't do the work to understand who I am, because they would think certain things and I wouldn't want that. But I still honor that time because they helped me survive, right? But when it came to this man and forgiving him for taking a life, I never told him. I did.
Sure.
I did.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm hearing. You
Yeah.
never told him you were pregnant, or you never told him that you lost a child? So he knew, right? So you never told him.
He knew eventually because I wasn't showing and like we had to talk about it. But when it first happened, I didn't tell him. I never told him. It just was like, okay, because he didn't see me for months, right?
Right, because you guys had stopped speaking.
He knew I was pregnant. We weren't gonna like, okay, go to the baby shower, tell everybody we're pregnant. We were gonna tell everybody eventually. I wanted to be a little further along. And when we saw each other again, that's when I had to tell him. I didn't tell him for those months. I never told him. He just came to me and was like expecting a belly. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on here? And were you pregnant for real? And I said, yeah, I was. You took the test, you saw it. But remember that day? And I was when he told me that he was using the way he was using, I was scared to tell him because I didn't want to trigger him. Because now we go back to when me not, man, my nieces are gonna see this. Okay. So, ooh, my nieces are gonna see this. My nephew. Okay. All right. When I was on that floor in that bathroom by myself and I started bleeding and bleeding out the way I was, I wanted to go. I did not like myself very much.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want people that I love to feel like that. I can't help it if they do it. If you ever do, talk to me because I can help you through it and get through it quicker. And so I didn't want my son's father to be triggered again in any way. Right? Because he loved so heavy. He loved with a good heart. He did. He had two sons of his own. And it would have really killed him to know that.
Mm.
But I couldn't hide it when we saw each other again. Right?
How did he react when he finally
Oh,
discovered?
oh my God. He didn't believe that he couldn't believe that I forgave him. He couldn't. And he begged me for real to forgive him. And I said, I did. I forgive you. He begged me. This man cried so bad. And all I could think about was, please do not start using it again. Please. He harbored that. And honestly, for a blink moment, when I got to that hospital, that doctor asked me, do you think that he did this intentionally? I was hoping it didn't have to do with that. And I was like, no, because he was ready to go. He was ready to do the work. Um, it was hard to forgive him. No, I don't, I can't say he kicked me in my stomach intentionally because he said he didn't remember it. Like literally, he said he did not remember any of it. Right? But you know that somebody's pregnant that you love, that you asked to marry you, that you were going to get married. You were planning a wedding, and this is where you choose to kick me. But he said he didn't remember it. I had to take him at his word. That conversation was so, it went on for a very long time. It went on for weeks. It went on for weeks. The conversation with him and I in this. It was never combative. Never. Possibly it was out of fear, right? Because I didn't want him to hit me. So it was never combative, but he wasn't combative with me. That's the thing. Like he always was very mild mannered, mild tone. You know, it's an East Coast thing. He called me mommy. He was Spanish. So he'd be like, Mommy, I love you, blah, 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 you know? Um, and he would just be so tender towards me, where I could be, I'm very regimented. I was very regimented. And he just was that love. And when I say break down the walls type of person in me, because of the things that I dealt with growing up. And I didn't know that side of me. And so in the conversations, they were hard conversations because it was from May. I think the first time I saw him again, maybe September, I want to say. Like, and we started spending time, maybe August or September. And he asked, and I told him, I never thought about that again, like till now, where, you know,
Um,
that was rough. It was rough. And the forgiving part, I want to get to the forgiving part because that was part of the reason why I said, you go and I'll come 6 months later. Because I needed him to see him do the work in his program. And I needed to be able to trust that again because I didn't know if I could. Right. And so he agreed to it. He was like, okay, I said in 6 months I'll leave my job, I'll find something, I'll move there. This is the plan. And the day that he passed away, his mom passed away this year in October as well. And he passed in October. So I get into the room finally. His mother and father are in there. His sister, Nydia, she comes and she takes the child that I had with me. And I don't want to say because I don't, um, but she comes and they're in the waiting. And then she comes back in because by then my girlfriend came and they were there in the hospital waiting in the waiting. And so I walk into the room and his head is like, I don't know how many times bigger than what it normally is. It was just like a balloon. And he has all these machines on him, and his father and his mother are standing there. Mother's crying. And then Nydia comes back and his mom comes over to me and she says, I want to have him resuscitated. The doctors already said if he survives this, we don't think he is, but if he does, he's going to be brain dead. And he'll be, he wouldn't be capable. You have to do everything for him. And she was like, I'll do it. I'll do everything for him. I don't care. This is my son. It was her only son, right? And so she looks at me and she says, promise me that they'll resuscitate him. She said, because I know you're going to when he goes. And I just looked at her and she said, promise me, because I know you're going to know. And she's crying and she's holding on to me. And I said, okay, I'll let you know. So we're standing there and it's like a little bit after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I kid you not, I've never felt God this intense in my life. It felt like the walls were like vibrating, like not vibrating, but like a warmth was coming up. Literally, it just felt like the room got warm in the wall, but it was like radiating off the walls. That's what it felt like to me. And I looked at his sister and I said, take your mother out. And as soon as they hit the door, COVID, they brought the cat crash carts in, everything. And I just stood there. I couldn't move. His father, now mind you, I'm in my mid-20s. His father is like, you don't have to be in here. I've noticed this is hard. You don't have to be in here. And I looked at his father and I said, I told him until death do us part. I'm not leaving. Because you make the promise before you have the ceremony. That's how I felt. And I didn't leave him. And so I knew he died with unforgiveness. I knew he did, right? Forgive me if it was hard to articulate it because I've never talked about those conversations ever openly to anyone. I've never talked about when he found out and what he said. And it just brought me back to that time. So if I didn't articulate that well, I apologize because this is just, this interview
You
is,
articulated it very well.
thank you. And I could not keep unforgiveness that I know that he left this earth with. I could not. Now, for somebody else who may be dealing with something similar and that person is still living, it could only benefit you to forgive so you can get release. You know, it's not even for that person. When people say that, it really is so you can release, so you can move on. If I harbor unforgiveness, thank you, God. I had to look up. I have to say this. The fact that I want to be married again now in my life, when I was like, I'm good. I had people on record. They're like, this girl was not thinking about getting married. She was good. People are like, why are you single? People love you. I'm like, listen, I'm not doing it. But releasing has allowed me to keep my past in the past and to move forward to create. I'm a creator. So forgiveness allows you to move forward and allows you to create another avenue of your life. You will always have your past like a book on a shelf. It will tell a story, but there is a final chapter. And so my past has final chapters. It has a shelf life that I can take off when I need to reference it, but I can put it back because it does not define who I am. And I could create more books to go on the shelf. I could create more chapters. And so for me, the fact that I don't, because of the release in 2021, I kid you not, the fact that I could be a better mentor, a better godmom, a better auntie, a better sister, a better friend, a better girlfriend, a better writer, a better all the things, a better daughter to God. Now I'm like, but you still got us loving you, and you can be a better person to someone. So when that man comes in my life, because that's who I choose, I want to be married to, right? He comes into my life. His wife has a myriad of things that she's done in her life, but I'm still creating with you because I don't have to take that with me because we have a start to create those newness, to create the things that go on. Because I literally had to close the chapter, and so many people get in relationships, and even in mutual sister relationships, friend relationships, and they have harbor so much unforgiveness that the relationships are toxic in themselves and just not healthy because you hold on to this pain because it's hard to do the work. It might have been harder to do this work than it was to keep this secret. Even though it was hurting me more to keep the secret,
Wow.
trust me, to do the work
was harder.
It was like birthing a child itself.
Whew. Trevelia, I know we are over time,
Right.
but that I am almost at a loss for words. The power again in your testimony, in your journey, and in your healing, I truly believe will move people, move nations, and restore hope and light. Because if you could do it, I could do it. Everybody could do it.
Everybody.
The lessons and forgiveness that we just learned, whoosh.
Yeah.
We gotta digest and process and really take that in. That was again so powerful. And not only are you sharing that today, but you've poured these lessons into your children's book. I just want to bring it back there again. The baby elephant with the blue balloon. This was for mothers who lost and even children who are grieving. This is a beautiful children's book. Trevelia, let everyone know how they can get a copy of your book.
Well, The Elephant with the Blue Balloon is on Amazon. It's available for you there. And then you can go to the website. It is The Elephant with the Blue Balloon. It's a long website, but we have exciting things coming up the whole entire month of May. There will be I will show you first here, for those of you who watching visually, there is a puzzle that's coming. And we're going to utilize this puzzle that families can when they start piecing their life back together, they can start putting this puzzle together too, symbolically, or take it apart and put it back together every time they want to feel closer to that child that was lost, or then frame it and keep it in your house. So this is me allowing you to have a blue balloon in your house as well. And then we have the website that's coming out of all websites, replacelostwithlove.com will be available for you. And you can go on that website and you'll be able to not only see what's happening now, but you can buy the book from that website. You can also see things that I have coming out soon. You can join e-courses that I have available for you as well. And I do talk in one of my e-courses that's going to be coming out very soon. I Once Was Lost. And it's an e-course with a book that comes with it. And it gives you the opportunity to do some shadow work for yourself, and discussing that part that you don't want to tell anybody yet, where you got to get things out and you can share. And the person who is producing this, Ashley Brown, said that she has watched this course at least 4 times because of how powerful it is. So I'm going to trust that. So you get to see my face again if you choose to. But you can always email me if you want at info.love.now. Feel free to email me or follow me on all social media outlets at Trevelia Hodge or Replace Lost with Love. Thank you.
Trevelia, thank you again. You're so full of love. I love how you say, you had so much more love to give, and you were only able to do that when you replace that loss, release that unforgiveness, and allowed yourself to feel and receive love. Thank you again, sis, for your time today, for your vulnerability, for your strength. Your transparency was not easy.
Ooh.
We applaud you. And like she said, make sure you get the book. You can order it at Amazon.com. One more time, just show it to us one more time. The book.
Sure.
We're going to end here. Yes. Make sure you get the baby elephant with the blue balloon.
On Amazon, y'all.
On Amazon.
Thank you. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with us longer than normal. And we really appreciate you. And stay tuned and keep joining in and subscribe to Replace Lost with Love podcast. Thank you. And thank you again, Selena, for just making this introduction to the world better than I could imagine. And again, the fact that we know each other and met each other how we did only makes God sense. So I give God the glory. And I wish you well at everything that you do.
Of course, it was my pleasure. Thank you.